We've always heard that term work-life balance, but today I really wanted to unpack this whole idea of work-wife balance. Chantel and I are celebrating 20 years here, coming up on our marriage anniversary, and super excited about that. We were actually boarding on 9/11. We were boarding a flight headed on our honeymoon, and that got completely derailed, and the whole world got derailed. And I just look back on man, I can't believe that's been 20 years ago. That's unbelievable. And so today it really just got me thinking about 20 years. And I even asked Chantel, I said, hey, babe, what has been the deciding factor and kind of like what's allowed us to be able to maintain being married 20 years, and what are some of those go-to strategies and tools that we've used? And we always talk about the date nights, but today I did want to share with you 4 quick points that I've used continually just on myself as a creative artist, because there seems to be this number one thing I always get asked about, and that's the whole idea of how do you balance your life and your work at your same time? How do you make sure that you're still keeping married to your spouse while at the same time not forsaking your kids? All of that, right? So I just kind of want to unpack that a little bit and give you my go-to strategies in these 4 that you can check down on the list down below. But I'd also love for you to leave a comment so that I can hear from you, because I love actually hearing your feedback and how this is like, how is this hitting you in your own craft and how you're doing your life? So don't look at this as work-life balance. Look at this as wife balance from the whole idea of our marriage. And so stop and think for just a second on this, and I'm going to unpack this with you. Probably one of the most derailing stories that I've ever heard was a guy that was a friend of mine's wife. I was talking to her. We were driving to this airport, and I was being dropped off. And I said, hey, so how are things going? And she basically just said, you know what, I'm not his number one client. And I went, wow, man, that is sobering. And it just made me feel sick to my stomach of actually, can you imagine? I would never want my spouse to say that about me. How do we keep that from happening? But also, how do you keep from this tension that's happening where when you're doing your craft and what you love to do with your creativity, you're not like looking over your shoulder going, oh, I got to get home and I'm missing the soccer game and I'm taking calls when I'm at soccer practice and I'm doing this, and it's like multitasking. And trust me, man, I've been there. But it's almost like you are actually married to your career, and that's your mistress. And so we're having this adulterous relationship with our career where literally that's stealing. It's like a siren's call that's luring us away from family time. And family time for me is the bedrock pillar of the launching pad of the mission of our life. And so you're going to see it down in the notes down below and in the checklist down below. But basically the idea is this: we have no business as creatives going out into the world trying to change the world if we can't take care of the business that's underneath our home. You run a bed and breakfast at your home. Your spouse is your best friend. That is your partner. They invest in you, you invest in them. I believe wholeheartedly through a biblical worldview that when I make these decisions in my life, if I'm asking God to bless my business and my creativity and give me serious downloads and all these amazing ideas, why would that come if I am not pre-qualified to keep my house in order? Why would I have the download of all of this of what's to come without having the prerequisites and the pre-qualifiers having the house in order? That's a tough one. So check this out. The 4 points that I've got down below that I wanted you to take a look at is this. Number 1 is your spouse your number 1 client. How do you keep your spouse your number 1 client? Here it is. Number 2, you got to invest in date nights. You can spend $150 a week on marriage counseling, or you can go out on a date night. And when you go out on a date night, you're not just burning time, you're not spending time, you're investing time intentionally. What do you love? Ask each other this. What do you love? What do you hate right now in this season? We're raising kids, then you're raising teenagers, then you're empty nesters. What do you love about this time frame in this life? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? What can I do to help? What do you need? What dreams do you want to see launch? What do you want to see alive? How can I make that happen? What do you need right now? There's nothing better than being heard, being seen, taking a sketchbook, sitting at that table, talking about it, recording those, because you're going to look back on them. You can spend $150 a week on date nights, or you can go spend $150 on marriage counseling. And if you don't date your wife, somebody else will. So when you think about this, people are like, oh man, we can't get our kids watched. Trade it with other families. It's the best thing that you can do. You do it for them, they do it for you. Take care of their kids so that they can get that free time, and it'll be one of the greatest dividends that pays long term. Number two, how would you build, or number three, how would you build, how would you treat your best friend? Chantel's my partner in this life. Chantel is my business partner in this life, helping me grow what I want to grow. I'm helping her grow what she wants to grow. And we're doing that as best friends. Best friends make time for each other. And I'll just take that another level further. If I'm looking to get downloads from God, am I spending time with my best friend and the CEO of my life? I'm not the CEO of my life. God is the director. I'm the producer. I come up with vision and strategy. He's the one who determines the steps. So when it comes to my implementation of what's happening on a daily, weekly, monthly, the plans I'm making for our family, the plans I'm making for our marriage, the plans that we're making to build memories with our kids, my job as their dad, as her husband, is to help underwrite those dreams and to make those dreams a reality. That's truly what I'm in the business of doing. I had a haunting reminder that when I was in an introduction of a big men's group, I led with what I did for a living as really who I was. And my friends, you got to ask yourself this. If you find all your identity in who you are as a person and what you do for a living, you're in big, big trouble. And if taking away what you do for a living takes away your oxygen and your air, that might be an indicator, it might be a symptom and a sign that there's some alignment and things are out of whack. Maybe today you've got an opportunity to be able to pull that and shore that up and get that dialed in. Wouldn't that be amazing? So look at, this is your best friend. And maybe you've got a spouse that's unreasonable, that maybe just not seeing eye to eye. I'll never forget when one of my mentors basically made it very sobering reality to me. Listen, Noah, you set the pace. Stop taking their inventory and just by your actions, keep your side of the street clean when it comes to the relationship and live by example and something that's attractive and serving them with a servant's heart and laying down your life for them. Love is not a feeling, but we base all these decisions on if we feel like it or not. Dude, love is not a feeling. It's a commitment. It is a vow. There are days when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, but you made a vow to your business. You made a vow to your kids. You made a vow to your spouse. But it starts there first. Is she your number one client? Is he your number one client? Do you treat him like a best friend, and do you make and carve out intentional time? Lastly, last two, your dreams don't have to be their dreams, and vice versa. Hey, we don't see eye to eye on everything. Her dreams aren't mine aren't hers. But we do have the one thing in common where we are coming alongside each other and putting wind in each other's sail. Dude, check this out. You can either dismantle their ship on a daily basis or put wind in their sail. How does your family and spouse look at you? Dismantling their ship or wind in their sail? That's a tough one for me because you know what? Whether it's anger, patience, things you say, things that you say where they take life, like you name it. Our words give life, our words take life. And it's tough raising kids. It's tough raising a family. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. It ain't easy. But treat them as your best friends. They're your home base. And they are the launching pad of your life. If you want to see mission failure, if you take a launching pad and get it out of whack just a little bit down here, which is, for me, it's my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife, my kids, my community, my friends, then my business, then the business of the mission and the life assignment is going to be thousands of miles off up there if you are just a couple of inches off down here. And that is home base. Home base is the launching pad of your life. So we got to shore that up. Lastly, small drops in the bucket add up after time. Listen, my friends, here's the deal. Over time, deposits, investing. That accumulation week after week after week of taking inventory with your spouse and be able to say, hey, what's going on here? How can I help? How can I put wind in your sail? What dreams do you want to see come alive? What do you want to get out of your life? How can I free things up for you? What does that do over time? That builds emotional, relational equity with them. Stephen Covey talks about how we take withdrawals or we take deposits, or we make deposits or we take withdrawals. So with your spouse, are you making deposits every single day emotionally, or are you taking withdrawals? Maybe you're even overdrawn. These are things that I had to put in check of what's going to make sure. Well, listen, because at the end of the day, this whole post is about, can I make better creativity? And when I'm in my creativity, can I create amazing work? There's nothing worse than going to the easel or writing a blog or writing a new post or writing a new book or doing anything on a creative level when a hurricane is going around you, when there's all things are off with family and kids and things are out of whack with schedule and yada, yada, yada. Go back to the basics. Your wife and your spouse is your number one client. Your kids are your next clients. And you got to ask them, are you giving the same white glove service that you would if you signed up the most world-class 6-figure, 7-figure client? We got to ask ourselves that question. I hope this really helps you. And I hope this puts wind in your sail and just trim things, dial things, tweak things. This is a life by design. This doesn't just happen. Amazing marriages don't just happen. It is by design. It's by design with your kids. But watch this, the upside, you're going to create better quality work. Number 2, you're going to have a lasting legacy with your wife and your kids where your fruit is going to grow on their trees because you've downloaded to them everything that you've implemented, that what we're talking about in this post. So you're not going to spend time on your deathbed wishing you would have spent more time at the office. Maybe you need to make some decisions today and saying, you know what, I need to break the affair of finding my identity in my career and what I do for a living. Work's good, work's important, work has value, work is worship. Sure, it's amazing. But what we really got to ask ourselves is that where we're putting the weight of our glory on a daily basis? Everything that we do in terms of how we feel, the temperature, the climate, everything hinges on career. That's a little something that we need to take into consideration. So I hope this helps you today. Appreciate you letting me speak into your life. I'm in your corner. Leave a comment down below. And I'm grateful to spend time with you every single week. I'll be back next week with another episode, but leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Take care.